All right, everybody, hello. Welcome to Lambeau Field for the 200th matchup between the Packers and the Bears. I am Olivia Reiner. This is Pete Doherty, joined with me. It's good to see you, Pete. How are you?
Good to be seen. I'm doing well. How are you?
Seen. Hopefully
yes.
You're being seen. Actually, before we get too far into this, if you were with us last time on our pregame live stream, you may have noticed that we were not actually live. Well, you actually wouldn't have noticed because we weren't actually live. We were talking to nobody for a little while. It looks like we're good to go. We're up on Facebook, so if you're in the comments right now, say hello. We'll be with you momentarily to take some of your questions, as we always do. But first, Pete, something that we love to do to start this out is talk about the Inactives. So why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Let's get them named off so I can get this hand back in a glove.
Yes. Oh, man.
We got the usual Ryan Grant, the usual Dexter Williams, Tony Brown, who was on the injury report, I believe.
Yes.
Kadar Holman, Jared Feldier, Yash Neiman, and the surprise of the day, BJ Goodson.
So worth noting that Jimmy Graham and Kevin King are both active. They were on the injury report earlier this week. They were questionable heading into this game. Kevin King did not play last week. He was inactive, just as Tony Brown was. But Kevin King is active today. Jimmy Graham active today. But interestingly enough, no inside linebacker BJ Goodson, who was not on the injury report at all this week. He's a healthy scratch for today's game.
And I would have thought the Bears would want to do a lot with Montgomery today, so maybe the Packers would want Goodson up, but they must do a lot of mostly at least three receiver personnel. And so I guess we're not going to see much, if any, base defense, or else Oren Burks is going to be out there quite a bit.
Yes,
one or the other.
And if we do see Oren Burks, or heck, even Ty Summers, which seems unlikely, but who knows, if we do see a lot of them, we know that Goodson not being in the lineup today is probably significant of something bigger.
Yeah, it would make, maybe, I mean, you never know. Maybe Burks has practiced really well, but it's probably more just game plan personnel. That would be best guess before having seen the game played.
So no Ryan Grant. I know he's been a name that we've seen in the comments throughout the week as, hey, why don't they give him a shot? Today will not be that day.
It will not. And if they're playing a month from now, he still might not be suited up for a game.
It's been hard for him to get off the inactives list. He hasn't been active for a single game since they picked him up when Devontae Adams was out with the turf toe injury. So who knows if he will ever see the field anytime soon, at least.
Yeah, he must just be insurance for him in case they get a couple guys injured.
Yes, so I'm going to try to, hopefully my phone doesn't freeze too much. Here we go. All right, guys. Hello over on Facebook. Hello to Mark, to Carl, James. Hello, Craig, my friend from Calgary. Hello, Craig. Oh, man, Mark is...
Is Craig a friend of yours?
He's not, but he always is he's a frequent watcher of our live stream.
Oh, well, hello, Craig.
And I've always wanted to go to Calgary, so I do care about our friend Craig. Mark says he's in Sarasota, Florida right now. It is very cold here, Mark.
That hurts.
You got that right. Can you see?
I requested to be put on the inactive list, but my request was not granted.
Roger is from Germany. Hello, Roger, all the way out there in Germany. Good to see you. It's a little bit later in the day, I would imagine, out there in Germany.
7-hour difference, I would guess?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not super up to speed on the time zones. All right, Marcel, who I believe is also from Germany, he says, do the Packers see a lot of pressure on early downs from the defense today? It's going to be a battle of the defenses, I would assume. I think they'd move Zadarius Smith around quite a bit around the formation today. That's something that Mike Pettin has done in the past to get some pressure on the quarterbacks. The Bears' offensive line looks a little bit different than it did, I guess, week one, you could say, with Kyle Long being out. So what do the Packers do to create some more pressure against the Bears' offensive line that hasn't given up too many sacks recently?
You know, something they did last week, actually, and it wasn't just on passing downs, was moving guys around, but they were moving them pre-snap, and they did that a lot with Zadarius Smith. I'll bet 5 or 6 times where he was wandering around pre-snap, and then I remember he got a stop on a run play where he was standing up, walked to the middle, and got the stop. So probably a lot of that. I would think we'll see a lot of running from both teams. This is running football weather. It's funny how teams, that the Packers and Bears especially, when they're building their rosters, you're thinking these decisions are made for cuts in August, but this is a time of year where it takes different kind of players sometimes and a different kind of style to win. Ron Wolf always liked drafting guys who played in the northern part of the country because they were used to playing in this.
Absolutely, yeah. It should. Everything looks a little bit different. Obviously, both teams, injuries happen. The Packers look a little bit more healthy, of course. We've got a question here from Rich in Sacto, California. I'm assuming is also nice and warm. He asks, tight ends today. So all four tight ends are active. Jimmy Graham, Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan, and rookie Jay Sternberger.
What do you think of snaps for Sternberger and Tonyan as opposed to Graham?
Who knows? I think I anticipate seeing more and more from both of those guys as Robert Tonyan gets healthier from the hip injury. Jay Sternberger gets more comfortable in the offense. They have a little bit more flexibility with those guys. Jimmy Graham snaps have gone down
a little bit. He had, if I'm going off the top of my head, I think it was 32 last week to Tonyan 20. I'm wondering if that'll maybe even out today or maybe even Tonyan a little more.
Yeah, I mean, you think about everything that they can do when they throw three tight ends out there a little bit more often.
They got a lot of mileage out of that last week.
They did. It really does help with their run blocking, and sometimes if they decide to not use one or two of those tight ends as blockers, throw them out there, get them deep in the field. The Bears have to honor those guys too.
They do, and they're defending them with a base defense. Sure. So they got three linebackers. They play 3-4, so they'd have four linebackers out there. So those are good matchups if your tight ends can run, and Sternberger and Tonyan run well enough.
Yes, it is. How important is it that Rodgers throws the ball on time and trusts receivers to make plays, asks Troy. I'd say that's pretty important.
That's very important, Troy. And he holds the ball. He's not going to throw interceptions. He doesn't throw guys open as much as the Drew Breeses of the world do. And he also likes to make plays downfield. So, we all saw that, right? That 4-week stretch with no Davante Adams where the ball seemed to come out faster. I think we're waiting to see that consistently and not just every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, who knows? Aaron Rodgers, listen, sometimes he extends plays and it doesn't go so well. Sometimes he extends plays and he pulls off some absolute sorcery that not a lot of quarterbacks in this league can do. It goes both ways.
It does.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You love him when it does, Packers fans, and you apparently don't like it when it doesn't work out. So it's tough to win, I guess. But anyway. We've got Brian asking, what do you think the changes are regarding BJ Goodson if Ty Summers is playing? I would imagine it's hard to believe that Ty Summers hurdles Oren Burks in the depth chart.
That would be just a bolt out of the blue there. Yeah.
So I would be surprised if Ty Summers got much offensive snaps today. He is important on special teams, as always. He will be playing there, but I wouldn't anticipate him jumping over Oren Burks unless something happened in practice this week that really clicked.
Yep, you would think maybe a decent amount of Burks, but probably, as you said when we were off camera, probably a lot of Ibrahim Campbell.
Yes, I would imagine that's going to be the case. Craig says Jamal gets more carries than Aaron Jones today. I would be floored if that is the case.
I would be floored also.
Don't think the Packers want Aaron Jones to have fewer touches in general than Jamal Williams. When Aaron Jones is playing well, this offense is playing well. He is the engine, as Jim Ozarski says, of this Packers offense. He's even the identity of this Packers offense, as the Packers have struggled to find some consistency from their receivers.
Yes, he's their best guy, and Rodgers has said several times they seem to be looking for about 20 touches for Aaron Jones a week.
Eric, our friend, asks, Pete, any word on the field conditions after last week's ice rink?
Is that our Eric? Our
yes,
Eric
that is our Eric. Hello, Eric.
Who was texting me and mocking me this morning about not freezing outside?
Well, we're doing our best out here.
Yes, we are. You can't tell from warm-ups, but definitely a problem last week, and it's really been a problem kind of all season. And as it's gotten colder, I think it's gotten worse, So Packers have some issues there, and something for the media to look into, which would include us.
We always ask about it. So, question for you, Pete.
Yes.
What was your prediction for this game today?
I went Green Bay Packers 24, 1, Chicago Bears 17.
Did you know that of all of the Packers News staff, your score for the Packers was the highest at 21 points?
Yeah, interesting. And we only had one person actually pick the Bears, and that was our boss, Stu Courtney.
All right. Stu seems to be an outlier. He pushes the envelope sometimes.
He does. I was trying to, I guess it was Tom Silverstein who picked the Packers against the 49ers. Yeah, Stu likes to be the contrarian. And your score was?
20-17
20-17.
Packers. Yeah, not going to be a high-scoring one. When has it been a high-scoring
Watch it be in the
for the Packers?
38-31 now.
Oh, always. It always goes some random direction that we never anticipated going. So maybe if you're betting, bet the other way. Who knows?
Bet the over. I never saw the over/under. So.
I haven't either. I should check that. I should be better about that. But yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the Bears defense is not a team that it does not allow a lot of points.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that they will out here today. Jim Ozarski thought it was going to be a field goal kicking extravaganza out here today. We'll find out if that's the case. And
he was correct. If it is, you would think that would work to the advantage of the team from Green Bay.
You would think so. Mason Crosby has been on fire.
He has had a really excellent season. One missed field goal, no missed extra points, I think. Does that sound right?
Not to my knowledge.
He's been just on target. I thought that field goal he hit against the Giants, that 48-yarder in the snow, that is just a really good kick. That's just a good professional kicker making a tough kick.
Very impressive for Mason Crosby. Impressive season. Impressive season for Matt LaFleurs, who has made it to 10 wins. I believe the only first-year head coach to have ever done so for the Green Bay Packers, which was quite the feat. But it still somehow feels like they have a long way to go with this team, even with just 3 games left to play before the playoffs.
They do. I mean, you get to 10 wins and you get there this early, that raises expectations. And as players who have played the game for a long time, like the Aaron Rodgers of the world know, things don't always go like this. So when you get these kind of chances, you got to strike.
So just a reminder, the Bears, if they lose here today, the Bears are officially out of the playoff running. It's already a long shot for them to make the playoffs, but a loss today can end their hopes. For the Packers, if they win and if the Rams lose, they can secure a playoff berth.
Yeah. Packers win, Rams lose or tie, or
forfeit.
Or forfeit if their equipment doesn't make it.
Who knows? Crazier things have happened. Or the exact same things have almost happened.
Yeah. Or if the Packers tie and the Rams lose, the Packers still make it.
There's so many scenarios.
There are.
The Packers, if you're a Packers fan, you would like them to win for their playoff chances and for seeding, all that stuff. So
yeah, that's
remember that.
That's the real big picture is that number 2 seed is hanging on the line. I think this is going to be a really interesting game against a Chicago Bears team that's playing better, whose quarterback is playing better, who has a lot of talent on defense. Packers had back-to-back games against weak teams, and this is the Bears aren't obviously at the top echelon of the league, but this is a pretty decent team. So I think this is going to be a really good game and a good test for the Packers.
Like I said earlier, it's going to be an interesting defensive battle between these two teams. Akeem Hicks is returning his first game back since injury. Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan are both out this game. So the inside of the Bears defense has got some secondary talent, and I don't mean secondary as in defensive backs. I mean some back of the depth chart. There's the word.
Kwiatkowski is I think he's not a bad player.
He's been playing well too.
And watching last it was a week ago Thursday. I think the Bears played on Thursday night, right? A week ago Thursday.
Yes, they did.
When Roquan Smith went out, Pierre Lewis, the guy who replaced him, and I know I can remember from when he came out in the draft, he's a really fast linebacker. He seemed like he was kind of all over the field for the second half of that game. So while there's a drop-off because Roquan Smith's one of their best guys, maybe it won't be as bad as we would assume.
All right, guys, I'm losing feeling in my finger, so it is time to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining us. We will be here back with you guys after the game to wrap it up. Make sure you're checking us out over on PackersNews.com for all of your Packers news. Follow us on all of our social media platforms so you get updates throughout the game. Once again, thanks, guys. We will see you next time.